Hey everybody, I'm back. I'm in like 65% voice capabilities. Still sounds weird in my head, but that is way better than from the weekend. We were at Aquashella, talked to a lot of you, and it was a good time. Did a keynote speech, not a speech, but a talk, all them doodads, and got through it. Got home, catching up. Here we are. Been a couple of weeks. Missed you guys. And it's the 350K live stream. I wasn't waiting for that. I just happened to make the live stream and go, wait a second, we hit 350,000. So that's cool. And yeah, I've decided with the 350K, I'm going to add a new segment to every live stream. And that is eat candy. That's my new thing. I thought it'd be fun. You guys have been having a little fun. I've been having a little fun looking at different candy people eat. And today I'm going to go with something super basic. I'm going Team Reese's. A lot of Reese's got brought to me, which is super good, and a few Snickers. But I'm going to try to find weird candy bars, and maybe you guys will send me candy bars and make recommendations. And maybe if I have to be punished, I'll eat like a Mars bar or something. So yes, there is lots of new stuff. But we're going to start with this Reese's peanut butter cup. And who makes Reese's, by the way? I could be supporting someone I don't want to support. Hold on. Does it say? The Hershey Company. Okay, it's not Mars. Good. It's hard to eat a candy bar and do a show at the same time. Just going to put that out there. Ooh, someone time out Danny. He said nasty for Reese's. How dare you? Team Reese's today. New background. Well, not new, but new setup, new lighting. I probably look a little different than normal. Background there, we put a couple air stones. Not a fan of them, by the way. And we put some plants over there and over there. Those ones are struggling. They had been sitting in a bowl at Dean's house getting de-snailed for way too long. And then they melted back. Horrible. So, but they're in here, and once they make a recovery, the fish will get sick, and I'll have to treat them and kill them. Kill the plants, that is, not the fish. All right, gotta get that peanut butter out of my system. Am I going to the Aquatic Experience? You bet your sweet apples I am. That's a throwback to the promo video we did a few years ago. Yeah, Katie and I will be there. Most likely we'll be giving away some samples, and we're giving away the pins, that kind of stuff. We ran out at Aquashella. More people arrived than we thought. So, it was a good time. Speaking of, new member, CMPI82. I remember, I always get a little weird here in that I'm going to say, I remember speaking to you, and then it could be find out like, oh no, I spoke to CMPI 80. Like, what? So it's, I believe I spoke with you, good times. If I didn't, I look like an idiot right now, but hey, I'm good at that. Welcome, Patrick, to the team. And the samples we were giving out some Xtreme krill flake food. And we've been testing it for quite a while. And it started out, if you read the community post, they sent me a whole goodie box of like test all of our foods. And I've known about Xtreme for probably 15 years. They were, in my mind, they were always like, yeah, it's Xtreme and there's New Life Spectrum. And so I kind of asked, oh, first I have to address this. What's so once in a lifetime about this stream? You only hit 350,000 subscribers once in a lifetime, buddy. Bear with me. I've also eaten candy once in a lifetime. You don't get a body looking this good eating candy all the time. But New Life Spectrum and Xtreme, I always thought they were like the same thing, sister brands, and as we dug into it, they actually kind of were. There were two fish farms right next to each other in Florida. They split ways, and then development for the last, 15 years has been independent. So they've diverged a lot, even though they started pretty similar. It was kind of two fish farms trying to find the best food for their fish, to raise fish and all that, blah, blah, blah. Then the divergence happened. And so at this point, I was supposed to go visit their farm. I actually didn't go because I was horribly sick. This is the remnants of that. So I missed that flight. Really sucks we don't get reimbursed in the hotel. Randy went and filmed it. That'll come out someday. And on the worst store of all time? Got to be known for something. I mean, hey, I'll take it. So the standout foods, like what I've been looking for, and you guys may know this from watching some of the vlogs, I've been looking for a good flake food. I mean, the Sarah flake food's good, a little expensive. I've been looking for alternatives. I just been looking because I feel like only offering one of something is never a variety. So, you know, I was testing their community crave, and the ingredients, you know, krill meal, fish meal, herring meal. This one is like a diluted version of this one. This is the Xtreme Aquatic Marine Flake. And yeah, this one's krill meal, Manhattan fish meal, herring meal, and other crud. But the fish really took to this one. And they really took to the red flake out of here, which is the krill flake. So then I tested it for a long time. And then I convinced them to work with me, but let me market their product for them. That's essentially what went down. And I was like, look, you only market to saltwater here. That's a Mandarin goby. You've got a clownfish. You've got a tang on there. But I think your target demographic is actually freshwater for this product. And so we did label redesign. And it's great for nano fish and discus and, you know, other stuff to eat it. It will, African cichlids will eat it. You'll go broke. You know, you'll color them up. You'll go broke feeding it. And so, yeah, we sell it now. And I like it. That's all I can say is I like it. You know, you're going to see more videos of me talk about it more. And you'll see I've been feeding like the rice fish for a long time. The oranges got really orange, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's how that kind of came to be. We'll be bringing some more extreme foods on as time goes. JH Aquatics thought this was a 380 live stream. Maybe like a 360 degree live stream. It's in 3D, bro. My voice needs to cooperate here. But what do we want to talk about? I want to grab some questions right away. I've been having a lot of fun doing that. You're right. There is a members blitz. Longhorn Aquatics from Longhorn Leghorn. Virginia Phillips. Keanu R. Ooh, and we got a super chat from David Simmons. He's got a swim bladder infection, and he dosed with erythromycin. Erythromycin will help if the swim bladder issue is derived from swelling of the abdomen from bacteria in the gut that as it processes stuff creates gases. So if that is what's going on, EM is going to help. If it was compression of swim bladder from a lot of parasites, something like metronidazole or General Cure would help there. If it's swelling of fluids, maybe from liver failure or something like that, there's not a whole lot you're going to be able to do. So with erythromycin, go ahead and observe, see if that's making a positive change over time. If not, when's the last time you dewormed your fish? If you really get a lot of pine coning and stuff like that, and it's only one fish, liver failure. If it's lots of fish, look into maybe parasite or water parameters. So, Elizabeth and Mike joining the team. That might get us back to where we were. As I didn't live stream for a couple of weeks, we kind of slid backwards in terms of memberships. So, this may or may not be going towards the new emojis. Let me take a look. Waiting on the refresh. We need 3 more. We need 53 more technically to get another emoji. So 3 more and we're back at par basically. Do I sell or would I recommend medicated food, and which one for what? I personally don't sell any medicated food. I'm not a huge fan of it for a few reasons. It's not that it doesn't work. It's limited situations where it works. So naturally, if this flake food here has meds in it, depending how much food the fish eats is how much medication enters its system. That can be a little problematic. If they overeat, could get too much medication. If they don't eat very much, not enough medication, right? Also, what I find is foods with meds in there, they tend to be, they don't taste very good. So then, if you're trying to like deworm a fish and they won't eat it, doesn't help. So I that's the problem I have is you never are sure like, oh, did that fish right there eat it? I saw this one, I saw this one eat it and that one eat it, but what about that one? I didn't see it eat it, and how much did it get enough? So you don't really know, and especially like an internal tapeworm, if you don't get it out of all of them, it's just going to come back. And so I find dosing the water column better. I think probably the best thing we could do would be injecting the fish, but most hobbyists are never going to inject their fish. Typically vets do that. So I think the best from a hobbyist standpoint is treating the water column that I've found. That's my preferred method. Also, you can have stress that'll make them not eat. And I also wonder, does the med stay in the flake even after it's been open for a while? All those kind of things. Well, I haven't done any testing on that. That's just all me thinking further down the line, does that make sense to me or not? So, all right, let's grab some general questions here. I've had my second blue dwarf gourami die. Are they doomed? Probably not. So dwarf blue gouramis, if they're the males, they can be pretty aggressive with each other. So if you're running more than one in a tank, that could lead to a lot of stress. If not, if you're buying it from the store that's got a lot, they could be pretty stressed out and not getting a whole lot to eat. I would always, one of the reasons we bring in fish when we quarantine them is not specifically for meds. That is one big reason. But another one is to make sure they get a lot of food. So like at the store, when we bring fish in, corridors for example, we're going to medicate them. But also what we're doing is we're feeding them Repashy food every day. Lots of Repashy food so they can bulk up and really fill their stomachs a ton. And we're changing a lot of water back there anyway, that before they go out on the floor, then they get a normal amount of food there. So that we're not like overworking the system out on the sales floor. So that might be another reason why you would quarantine your gourami is, one, you might be running meds through it, but you might be making sure it's getting fed really, really well before it ever has to go compete with the other fish again. But in general, hardy fish, and you should be able to get through that. New members from, I think, Elizabeth McGovern, Mike Black, Aquarium Noob, Ryan Music, Missy White, and we got some super chats I'm going to hit. Mystery Snails, still a fan? Yes, I still like Mystery Snails. I like all snails. Mystery Snails, I could probably do them in there, actually. Maybe I will. Because they would hatch out. There's enough humidity at the top of this thing, and you can see, I've got this little... Can I turn that off? Let me see if I can turn that off so I can show you. Where would that live in my thing? Viewer count, YouTube, nope. Oh wait, nope. I don't know how to turn that off, so you're gonna have to live with it. Wait. That, yes. So right up there is where they'd really want to lay eggs, stays nice and humid. I could watch them, they'd crawl back down in. That would work out pretty good. And I might do that. The only problem I run into with mystery snails is I like to run a lot of loaches and things like goldfish. They could choke on those babies. So I'm a little worried on that. But I do love mystery snails. So, check mark, still a fan. Austin says, I have an adult male and female red severum and they won't pair up. Any advice? The female keeps attacking the male. So it could be a food issue sometimes. If there's not high quality foods going in, maybe the male or female can't develop what they need. Female would be eggs. Males would be feeling kind of territorial enough and like they could defend, that kind of stuff. Sometimes with like King Kong blood parrots and some of the flower horns and maybe even sever them sometimes, you need to breed them through a divider. And you can get a lighting diffuser or egg crate, kind of make a divider there, put the male and female on each side, and that'll keep them from beating on each other. And then they can still lay through the divider. One will lay the eggs, the other one will, fertilize them, they'll raise them up. The other thing is, if you only have those two fish, they might need a common enemy. So maybe put a few silver dollars in there, something that they are worried about them much more than each other. And then once they lay the eggs, go and remove the eggs, because once they hatch out, the other fish in there will be preying on them as well. So those are my tips. It's hard to know without getting a lot more info on where we're going wrong in that attempt there. The Fish Tank Barn with a $5 super chat. Aquatic Experience Fund. Yes. I'll take all the $5 I can get. It costs us quite a bit of money to actually attend an event like that. It's on average in the realm of about $10,000 between flights, hotel rooms, stuff we give away. Luckily, we were able to bend Xtreme's arm and get some free stuff. Like, we gave stuff away too, but we gave away the 1 ounce container, and we sell that. Like, it's a good value people were getting. So I don't have it, but Xtreme wanted to send out like these little, if you've ever seen it before, like these little pouches of food. And I was like, no, you don't get it. My fans, my customers, all that, we want them to get enough to actually try and use this food. Either A, your food is amazing and they're going to eat it and they're going to buy more of it, or B, it's not very good and you need to make sure you give them enough that they can figure that out. But one little sample, I hate the sample packs that most businesses give out. Like, they won't feed one of my tanks for even more than like a day or two. And like, you really can't know, are they really digging it? Might take a couple days for them to come around to it. If they ate it once really well, were they just hungry? Like, if I feed them when I get back from Aquashell and they didn't get any food and they didn't eat for 4 days, they actually love it, or are they just starving? So I like full-on samples. Like, if we're going to do it, let's do it. So, yes. My wife says, it's a small world. She's a doctor right now. The nursing assistant said she shops at the co-op. Yes, she does. I don't know. When I said yes, she does, it sounded all creepy, and then I felt weird. So that's why I was like, I don't know. That sounds weird. New member. Ooh, wait, hold on. Great, finally getting to meet you. Yes, the $2 bill guy. We still have that $2 bill. CMPI82 brought us a $2 bill as a super chat in real life. Good way to make an impression. That's what I would say. If I meet a couple thousand people on a weekend, something to make you stand out of like, I'm wearing the crazy clown suit. I brought you a $2 bill. I brought you a sandwich. Anything like that helps my brain, because otherwise it's like, oh, you're mark number 62 I've met so far. Oh, it's really hard. So, and I'm not saying you have to bring me stuff. I'm just saying my brain is very limited in how many people I can remember in a given weekend. So I try my best. Am I bringing Dean to the Aquatic Experience? Not that I know of so far. And I say that because he was really on the fence about going to Aquashella right before Aquashella too. But I do know that Dean is coming over this Sunday. We're going to work on my fish room. He was over last week, and we had lunch. We talked about a bunch of stuff. We did a little bit of work. But yeah, we've been trying to figure out how to get rid of some of the glares and stuff like that in the 800 gallon. At this point, I tried Fritz Clarifier, which I have over there. I've now even tried chemicals, and it won't clear up. We're convinced that it is the lighting and the way the camera picks it up, because we spent a couple hours looking at it, and to our eye, it looks much clearer in person than it does currently on the camera. So it did get better when I changed the lighting. Like, we turned off all the overhead lighting, and now I've got a light on me, so you can see it change. Ooh, right? So we're getting better, but it's not perfect. And I want it to be as true to life as I can, I guess. So, one of the things I hate about these new air stones I put in there, I thought they were gonna be awesome because they're big 4-inch air stones. But you can see all the bubbles that get pushed around. So there's like micro bubbles everywhere. So now it's just like cloudy for a different reason. It's like, oh, I cannot win. Cannot win. So one of the things we're thinking about is completely switching substrates. I can't imagine it's a substrate though. I think it's lighting. I think so. We might, you know, Kessel has hit me up pretty hard all weekend. Like, what do we got to do, bro? We want to do something with you. And I was like, I can't be doing sponsored crap. You know, one, it'll make me look like, you know, I've sold out and that kind of stuff. But Kessel Lighting is similar to what I'm thinking about on here, and I may let them loan me some lights or test some lights. I want to see, right now I have the Flue Ball Spectrum that's nice and white, and I love it on all my tanks. But on camera, I'm thinking maybe it looks a little foggy. So I want to try like a much more orange type bulb and see if that gets rid of this whiteness to the water. And if they're willing to do it for free, maybe, you know, but I told them, like, I'm not doing a dedicated video and all this. Like, I'm willing to test some of your stuff, but that's as far as I've agreed to so far. We'll see. All right. What are those air stones? The ones that aren't working? They're right here. Because I just set them up. They were like 20 bucks each. Not great. I guess the brand is Hygger, Hygger, and yeah, it's the Airstone S100. Yeah, I got them on Amazon. I wanted to make sure they were heavy enough that they'd stay at the bottom with the goldfish, like knocking them around, and you know, I have a little bit more of an advanced setup. So like, if this Airstone moves over to like here, if it goes into the overflow, it's gonna change the way my gate valve works. Then it get really loud on the live stream. So I've got a little bit more than to worry about. Like normally you'd come in and you'd be like, oh, it moved over a little bit, let me fix it. But if it was live stream day, it takes a few hours to sort itself out. And so I don't want to have that problem. Yeah. All right, where are we at here? I am way behind and I apologize. Deanna DeShano became a member. Thank you. The Stupicide. I saw some comments you'd left on the channel, because that's not the first time I saw Stupicide. Just set up my first planet tank with your help. Well, thank you. Wait, no. Well, thank you for the super chat, but congratulations. That's what I was trying to say. James Holbrook. By the way, everyone shamed James. He was in Chicago and didn't come see us. I know. Will Hillstream loaches get along with rainbow shiners in a subtropical aquarium? Mr. Goodbar rocks. Indeed it does. Yeah, I think they will. In fact, I just saw some of my particular Hillstream loaches in here, which is cool because I hadn't seen them in a while. But I believe that they would get along just fine in that setup. Through testing, we used to breed, well, not breed. We were keeping and raising up rainbow shiners outside, and then we were combining with guppies and stuff and didn't have any nipping problems. We were doing a lot of testing before we wanted to maybe bring them into the store and make sure they were good community fish. So I think they'll be fine. Yeah. Dylan says, finally was able to order some stuff for you guys. I'm switching over from hang-on back filters to sponge filters, and you guys had everything I needed. Good. Yes. That is the plan. I like using sponge filters. I almost put those as sponge filters, but I'd have to like use a rope and line to pull those things up. You should have seen me. I was on top of the aquarium today, and I was thinking, like, if someone saw me right now, they'd see me before I die. Because I'm always afraid this thing's going to cave in, even though it's like the strongest thing on the planet. It's still scary. Like, I don't want this thing to become my coffin instantly. Is a golden wonder killifish a good community fish? They can be if you have a larger fish community. So the golden wonder killie, they're not so much aggressive. Like, they're not just gonna, like, you know, just be beating on fish. They will swallow fish though. So like neon tetras wouldn't be safe, but like black skirt tetras would. You know, things like butterfly fish would be fine. Rainbow sharks would be fine. Baller sharks, angels, all that kind of stuff would be fine. But a lot of, you know, guppies would not. A lot of the smaller tetras and rasboras wouldn't. And they do jump quite a bit, so make sure you got a real good fitting lid. Wow, there's like 100 super chats. All right, I'm going back to normal fan questions, then I'll chime back in on the super chats. Mixing it up today. I use orange safety goggles on my coral tank. Try sticking a pair in front of your webcam. Good idea. Okay. I can see that. A filter on there. All right. I had not considered that yet. We do it when we film with normal cameras. That's a good point. I could try that. That's a good tip. Yeah. I like that. Tracy Walker says, let's do this. A sponsor would be great. Possibly. There's been a lot of pushback from like the memberships and just all that kind of stuff. Like I think people are afraid, and I think it's a valid concern that a sponsorship would taint my bias, I guess. But I'm very, very open with the companies that says I am not willing to lie about a product. If I don't like it, I'm going to be very vocal about it. And, you know, so if I was to ever get a sponsor, they would have to be okay with that. That being said, I typically don't want to spend my time talking about products I don't like. So it's kind of a weird thing. Let's see here. Buy polarized glasses to see deeper in your koi pond. Safety glasses work as well because they're cheap. We need koi videos when you have the time. Yes, right now we're having our yard. It's being all ripped up, and we're trying to get it back in. You know, there was more weeds than grass at this point, and you know, digging the trench for the electrical line, all that for the pond, and it's been, there's been a lot of projects that have been meaning to get done, and now that it's October, someone's schedule finally freed up, so they're starting to do some of that work, which is nice. So hopefully we'll get out there and film the pond once it grows back in, I guess. What happened to Chris Lukup? Our collaboration was good. We're still super good buddies. I'm trying to think how to say all of this in a fair way. He had some personal stuff going on. Then he was supposed to be at Aquashella, and then basically there was a nerd fight when it comes to companies. And that means that I don't like the way this is going. Oh, I don't like the way this is going. Fine, he can't go. You know, to the best of my knowledge, Chris even tried to fly himself there, not with a company, but they wouldn't let him. So, you know, it was one of those like, how do I explain this? As a creator, it's always super annoying when the companies get in the way of doing what you want to do. So it'd be like Aquarium Co-op, even though I own it, but if I didn't own it, if Aquarium Co-op said, you know, it just doesn't make sense for you to go to these events anymore, or we don't want you to go there because the sponsor of the event is our competitor. The fans suffer, I suffer for it, that kind of stuff. So it's always really unfortunate when that kind of stuff happens. And that's kind of what went on with Aquashella. So he's going to be at Aquatic Experience, which is going to be great. I'm going to hang out with him. Love that guy. And we definitely want to do more projects. We've been talking about it. And mostly, it keeps coming back to, like, hey, let's talk. Like, we were supposed to talk at Aquashella, and then that fell through. So now we're going to talk a bunch at Aquatic Experience and hopefully plan another trip or something like that. If not, maybe I'll just go visit him and do my own thing. Him and Oliver Knott have really teamed up and are starting to work a lot more together. So maybe I fly over there, hang out with those two guys, and then all three of us go somewhere, you know. And what you guys don't get to see, and it's unfortunate, but like we did a little bit of FaceTiming and stuff. So it was probably a week and a half ago that we FaceTime. He was at Green Aqua with the Green Aqua guys in Budapest, and so it's kind of fun to do that. But you know, I hear my wife walking around. She might be attacking me.
What's I am with $2.
Oh, the $2 bill.
You gotta show it off. I kept it all crisp.
Yeah, but then someone's gonna steal the serial number and cash it in. My real life super chat.
It's okay. I made it look like it wasn't what the number is.
Oh, you hid the number magically?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yes, we're gonna put it somewhere here. I want it to be.
I'm gonna take it for now because I know you.
All right. It'll end up in a crumpled mess in about 4 seconds if I leave it on my desk. So. All right. What was your favorite part of Aquashella?
I don't want to say the vibe because that sounds cheesy as I'll get out.
Oh, the vibes, man. You gotta get to one of these things, man. The
I'm
vibe
just
is
meeting
awesome.
people.
Yeah.
I got to meet a whole bunch of fans. I got to meet like a gamer's wife and all kinds of people I didn't get to meet before.
How many people do you think you met that was like that knew you were Dorcula? Three people knew you were Dorcula?
No, I probably had like a dozen people.
Okay.
And then there was a bunch of people that was like, "Oh yeah, how long you been working at the co-op?"
That's true. They did. Yeah, they saw you're random.
Well, I can't sound like I'm being a jerk and be like forever.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna leave you.
All right. Back to work for me. Tacos for dinner?
Yeah, do you have something to drink?
I do have something to drink.
Okay.
Tacos for dinner it is.
I'll put more drinks in the fridge.
Thank you. All right, back to where I was. I'm a little lost, you know. Any recommendations or ideas for rope fish tank mates? I love to do an oddball tank. Senegal, or not Senegal bichers, but bichers in general. I like Tenopoma leaf fish, pink-tailed Chelseus, butterfly fish, archers, maybe datnoids. Depends on how big you're going, right? Oh, you gave Dorcula a $2 bill too? Nice. She got two. Or I mean, we got two. All right. This one's a long one. I'm gonna start deciphering it because it's in Metricanese. I'm gonna call it Metricanese. Hi Corey, I'm setting up an 80,000 liter outdoor fish tank. Boom. Divide by 4, 20,000 gallons? That's a lot. All right. How would you heat and filter something that size? With arowanas and stingrays? By the way, it's in Melbourne. Okay. So the outdoor temp range from 0 Celsius, so that'd be like 32 degrees, I think, to 44. The only way I would manage something like that is I would rely on solar heating. So I would find a way, so like in swimming pools, you can get like it almost looks like bubble wrap that you float across the top of the water. It allows the sun rays to come in, but then traps the heat inside. And because you put a barrier on the top, the wind won't take away the heat and cause evaporative cooling. Now, you're still going to have to put a lot of air into it because now you've cut off that surface layer. But that's the way I would start. I would figure out how am I going to use the sun, because even when it's snowing, let's say, the sun itself will still put out a lot of heat. If we can trap it, that's very important. So if we can trap that heat in, that's how I would go about it to start. The other thing you could do is you could have air pumps from inside your home. It's pumping into the pond. If you do close it off like that pretty well, you can trap some of that heat that'll sit up top and it'll heat a bit. All right. Great seeing you at Aquashella. My Corey's laid eggs a day after seeing you. Can Xtreme be used to prevent fungus on newly laid eggs? I haven't done that test. That'd be a good test to do, though. Some of the ingredients, yes, but I have no idea. That'd be a great test. I'm going to put Dean on it. Dean. So Dean always tells me how he watches most live streams, but he hides because he doesn't want to just answer 4 billion questions. But Dean, if you're watching right now, remind me, we should run that test to see if Xtreme can keep the fungus off. It'd be a good test. And you got lots of eggs, so you can do that. Can pink-tailed Chelseus mix with Severums? Yeah, typically. So it was really cool. I don't know if we got any video of it, but we were catching pink-tailed Chelseus in Peru. We only caught one. If we had caught a bunch more, I might have brought some back. So, Dwayne Perry says, yes, Xtreme works. That's pretty cool. I'm still going to have Dean test it, so that way I've got 2 sources of information, because that's a pretty good thing, I think. What do I think of the website Advanced Aquarium Concepts? I have no idea. Hashtag free plug. Advanced Aquarium Concepts. Let me take a look. If it ever loads. So it looks like an informational website. So my initial impression so far is this is just going to end up being a AdWords / affiliate link website that doesn't need to exist. And what I mean by that is like we're going to provide surface level information and then farm money out of this thing. That's what I see so far. That being said, I mean, it looks all right. But I guess I just don't see the value in this other than, yeah. Yeah, that's what I see. Anyway. Oh no. Wait, yes. Try a polarized lens filter for the 800 gallon. So a polarized lens, it always will darken the image. So what likely would happen if I put a polarizing lens on this camera right now, it would look similar to this, is what it would do. So it would dull everything, right? And so, interesting, right? You guys probably see right now, this water, you can see one of the plecos, if I can, right there, rubber lip. The water looks a lot more white right now because we turn off the light. All of a sudden, the camera corrects, right? So there is some magic to be done with this camera system here and figuring it out. Trio of meds can be used with guppy fry in a tank. From my experience, yes. You should be okay with that. Telu. Hey, Corey, I'm a big fan. Just want to say thank you for inspiring me to be a better aquarist. You're welcome. I always find it's real hard to answer that, especially like a convention when people are like, you've done this for me. And I'm just like, I'm kind of just a dude. Yeah, it's awkward. You know, it'd be like if my wife said like, thanks for being a great husband. You're like, you're like, but isn't that my job? I'm never a good person to take compliments or really give them. So in general, my brain is not wired that way. A lot of the stuff with me is like pass or fail. That's all I got. Have I ever reviewed the Eco Bio block to set up a new tank? No, I haven't used one, although from enough reading and everything like that and relying on other people's experience, it's like the scam of the century. So, yeah. Would black substrate help on the 800 gallon? It might. It definitely would change. Like we've been playing around with it a little bit. It might help. It's going to show a lot of imperfections, but yes, we're looking into it. And it's the problem is there's hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I think there's like 300 to 400 pounds of substrate in there. Getting that out, it's very difficult. Someone's got to get in the tank and like almost shovel it out. And then we got to get 300 to 400 pounds, put it in, and then go, oh, it just looks the same. Dang it. You know? So we'll see. Depends on how froggy you want to get. I need your help with plant ideas for an 800 or a 500 gallon tank from the unfiltered aquarist. I find a lot of Anubias and job ferns on wood or rock is kind of an easy installation. Vallisneria is a good addition. Crinum is a good addition. You can do crypts and stuff, but you gotta have stuff that doesn't dig. But I typically try to shoot for medium and lower light. Anything above that starts getting really hard to control on a very large system unless you're just focusing on a very high-end planet tank. Wanting to set up my first plant tank with guppies, any advice on good plants for them to have as beginners? Any plant you can grow, they'll appreciate. That's the good news, is like anything. You know, it's kind of like, does my dog prefer hot dogs or bacon? Trust me, if either of those hitting the floor, it's eating them all. Kind of same thing with guppies. Like, if it's there, they're going to utilize it. If it's growing, great. Faster plants fill in faster. That's nice. But a really nice Anubias installation is great too. My new chair is little, like, it wants to move easier. Oh, which is good because it rolls really nice. Except I like start doing these, karate moves in the live stream. I start moving. Which, by the way, no sweaty back. Posture is better. I'm ashamed that I didn't order this chair like 5 years ago. Probably would be way. I mean, not that I'm in like bad shape now, but I'd probably be Superman. You know how that goes. Why have I brought back this sound? I got rid of it for so many years. I don't know why it's back. Welcome, Desert Fish Keeper. Something's wrong with my... It's like my chat lost sync. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was there. It was just hidden. Let me fix it. Fixing it. All right. And Charlie7842 as well. Thank you for the inspiration, the motivation. JH Aquatics. You're welcome, my man. Oh no, my wife. Show us more karate. You know, I did go to the gym today, so pretty much certified Kung Fu master. I've got some, oh wait. I'm trying your CPD, red cherry shrimp, and clown killifish tank from your suggested 20-gallon video, although I'm doing it in a 65. Any advice to increase survival of the fry? With the killies, if you can do a bunch of floating plants, I find the best one to be like hornwort. Bunch of floating hornwort helps there. The problem with the CPD is those eggs are going to fall, and a lot of times the shrimp will eat a bunch of those. But the more plants you have, the harder it is for them to find. So just lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of plant cover is where you got to go there to get that. I call it the communal breeding, where everything's breeding and it's community-wise. Yeah. Why didn't I like the Secret Lab chair? Because it's leather everywhere, so it gets hot. Like as this computer starts getting hot, you've got lighting on you that starts getting hot, and in general, it makes you. In general, when you're in front of a crowd and you're doing something, you're focusing on something pretty hard, your body temperature will raise by a degree or two. You combine all of those things together, and you start sweating, right? Like, look at that. We're dry. We're dry. It's great. So it's not a horrible chair. It's like a $400 chair, and it's not terrible, but I don't know. It just wasn't great either. So now I have this Aeron chair, I think. Herman Miller Aeron chair, which is like the gold standard of any office building or whatever. And it's got like full-on mesh, both at the back and the butt. If you know what I'm saying. You know. And everything, like, there's like different back adjustments, and I can adjust like each armrest and that kind of stuff. And in general, somehow it's got like suspension. It seems really good. Now, if I'm doubled over in pain in 3 months, you'll know it was this chair, but I'm going based on tons of reviews. So, yes. What are the best temps for Vallisneria? Want for 70 degrees? Yes, in general, cooler water for plants is preferred. So, kind of anything like 65 to 75, plants really thrive. You go ahead of that or above that, some stuff kind of gets, a little warm. Did I miss? Uh-oh, I missed one and I feel horrible. Good day from Australia. I have a 50-gallon with guppies and shrimp, thinking of changing to rainbows. Ideas on the type of stocking and density. With a 50-gallon, I would tell you go gangbusters on all the pseudomogil rainbows. They're like the smaller, like pom-pom looking ones. Yeah. And I would go with I would mix frickatas with like the Irian reds or the neon reds. And then if you can get Gertrude REU2s, those look good. And yeah, get a bunch of all those. Easy Carbon and Val, they go together like like peanut butter and what's something that really peanut butter and krill flake food. Yeah. So in general, they're working against each other. It can retard the algae a bit, but you go too far, and now you're eating a peanut butter and krill sandwich. It's not good. So. Jack of all Aquarium says, I got the same chair a year ago. It's still as great as day one. I hope that's true. Like, I'm really enjoying this chair. I spend a lot of time here, so I really need a good chair. So I'm hopeful. Yeah. You're sitting on a $1,500 chair, you must be doing well. If I'm being 100% honest, this chair was with tax about $1,240. So I foregoed? That's not the word. Foregone's not the word. I don't know how to say that correctly other than I avoided some of the options to keep the cost down. But yes, I would be lying to tell anyone that I'm not doing okay. We have a thriving business. We're doing well on YouTube. And the only thing that kept me from buying a chair before is, in general, I try to invest my money back into the business and back into you guys. And I finally was able to convince myself that not showing you my sweat stains and having... So really, the other problem with the chair, the way the Titan was set up, is the leg part of it, the seat, it sticks out pretty far. And if I work here for 12 to 14 hours, which is typical, by the end of the day, I'd have like swollen ankles because of the blood flow. It would start to cut off blood flow unless I remember to get up and walk like every 30 minutes. And so with this thing, it's a much shorter chair or seat base, and I don't have that problem. So win-win. And honestly, if I'm going to use something like anything in your life, if you use it 12 hours a day forever, it's worth $1,000. Like, there's things that I use way less. Like my car. Cars are way more expensive, and there's nowhere, I try to avoid driving that thing as much as I can. I stay home. So, yes. How to choose between a membership or spending more on plans from your shop? Oh, had to choose. Sorry. Thanks again. Yeah. The reality is, I really am hoping someday there's an integration where it would qualify you to become a member. But we're working with YouTube, doing what I can, and there is new features coming out. There's a new feature that we're going to be able to... We're in the beta program of small creators, and the best way I can explain it is like, what is it? When Logan Paul and whoever he boxed against, they were able to sell tickets, right, for that event. We're in that same program now, but they've changed it a bit. So my thing was, and I met with him yesterday, and it was good because I don't have to charge for it. My whole goal was, how can I do this thing I want to do, but make it like a perk of the members? And the whole goal of it is, with your cell phone, you'd be able to not talk, but like video me for a few minutes. We could diagnose a fish thing or something like that, and then I can move on to the next person, and it would cycle through people like every 2 to 3 minutes. And I could sit down for an hour and just go, great, you guys signed up, you bought tickets, even though the tickets are free, right? They come with a membership type of deal, and maybe I can go, okay, I'll do 30 people at 2 minutes each. Every Thursday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I do 1 hour, and I donate 1 hour of my time to helping one-on-one or something. And then there's other ways to use it too. And I asked them about, what about people that make a purchase? Could I make it so that everyone that bought the Med Trio for the first time, could I offer them a 3-minute one-on-one, how can I help you fix your fish? So they didn't have to be a member or something like that. And they're like, oh, good idea. We don't have the integration yet. So we'll see. What is intriguing is that we are helping shape YouTube. And we got into that because we did so well in members. So membership, we got into the beta program a long time ago. And so now it's rolling out to more and more people. But because we've done so well, and by well I mean, providing feedback and trying out features and doing these things, that they're willing to go, you've been, as a volunteer, you've been doing well. How you want to try this? And I go, yes, let's try that too. So, yeah. Ask Corey about the time he had a bad eye in the live stream. Yeah, when I had eye surgery and because Sassy punched me in it. How long would I recommend treating ick? With ICX, about 5 days usually gets it, maybe 7 max. If you weren't getting it after that, we might have misdiagnosed. If you're using salt, maybe 10 days up to 14 days. All right, trying to catch up here. Group of guppies breeding, only getting female fry. Any advice on evening those sexes out? Store staff said temperature. Internet says pH. I don't know that there's any studies done well enough to prove one of those or the other. The first thing I would ask is, are you growing these fry up large enough? Like if they're 2 weeks old, they're all going to look female. So that's a normal thing. I'm assuming you're past that and you're still having very high female ratio. I also might look into, are you raising them with the parents? Do you have maybe some males that are going aggro on other males? I don't know of any certified way to manipulate male and female in guppies. So, you know, you could definitely try temperature. You could definitely try pH. I would try temperature before pH probably, though. I have Nigerian red crebensis. Do I have any tips for breeding them? Lower pH. They look gorgeous, but they want to be down, probably about 6.2. Low pH. We got new members that I did not acknowledge. Lost My Shrimp and Robin Nature Girl, as well as Kiwi 1165. Thank you. Big Wiggums. Building my house soon. I want to add a fish room like yours with all the wood. How can I replicate it? So what I did is I looked at lots of pictures and kind of just planned out what I wanted to do. In fact, I still have those pictures. I saw them just the other day I went and I spent hours online of finding things I liked, things I didn't like, and making folders and going, I don't want this, I do want this. I don't want that, I do want this. If I go with cinder blocks, here's how I'd paint them. If I did this, here's how I'd do that. And from there, you get a good idea. And then once you get in the thick of it, you start changing. Like, oh, this looks good. I'll do that. Oh, that looked worse than I thought. We'll ditch that type of deal. Thoughts on Fluval C series hang-on backs with aqua clears? Nothing on the planet is better than an aqua clear currently. I hope someone will make a better one, but currently that is the winner. So whenever it's what about this filter versus the aqua clear is the gold standard at the moment. So that's the better one. How do you cure internal parasites in fish? Use some general cure, Chris. How often can you do the med trio on older fish? No more fish tanks, wife's rule. Quarantine not an option until we move. What I would recommend is try to get like all the fish you want, then medicate. Or at least break it up. But I wouldn't like, I'm going to add 6 fish, medicate. A week later, add 6 fish, medicate. A week later, add 6 fish, medicate. You're going to end up blowing out kidneys and livers and that kind of stuff. So I would say try to get a majority of it, then go ahead and you know, as we call it in the industry, nuke them, right? Get all those viruses, get all the bacteria, the worms, that kind of stuff out of them. Can you convince your store to quarantine for you? Like, I know we can be convinced every once in a while. If you had this scenario and you were local to us, we'd probably go, for this amount of money, we'll help you out. We won't do it all the time. If we have room from fish coming in, we could try it. Or maybe, do you have a club or another hobbyist that could do it for you as well? I'd look into that. Can pearl weed die off from over trimming? Kind of. Like, as pearl weed gets taller, right? The under parts of it, a lot of times will lose its leaves. So if you cut off the top, the leaves are what are catching the light. And so it could die back a little bit. Let's see here. I know I'm skipping some. Hi, Corey. My name is Sion. I watch your show with my nurses all day and night because I'm paralyzed and bedridden. I learned so much from you and I'm excited to start my own aquarium soon. Nice. Yeah, I met someone else. I don't know if it was you, and if it is you, let me start by, well, they had aquariums, so I know it's not you. But yes, aquariums can be very wonderful, especially if you're, handicapped. In fact, Aquanut, this is a throwback to a channel that I don't think makes videos anymore, but he was doing a whole series on making fish tanks easier for those in a wheelchair, which might be applicable to some of your situation. I don't know. But Yeah, his channel was Aqua, A-Q-U-A, Nut. And I don't remember how many videos, but I know there's at least a few on, you know, like lowering stands, making things easier to get to, like if you need to turn off filters and you're going to change water, that kind of stuff. So you might find some of those tips handy. Jared TG, plans for a 20-gallon tall, making an unboxing anytime soon. Do you like flower horns? See you at the Aquatic Experience. You have maximized that $4.99, buddy. So plans for a 20 tall. I like crypts a lot. Just fill with crypts. Crypt spiralis, crypt wendeti, crypt parva, crypt lutea, crypt lucens, all of them. Crypt it up. Am I making an unboxing anytime soon? Nothing planned. I haven't filmed anything in weeks because I haven't had a voice. So that's really put a crunch on us. I do want to film some more stuff for sure. We're working on it. Like I've hired someone on to help me organize some of the content on YouTube, analyze data, figure out how to get more out of it, present it a little better, and then it's right on the line, right? So if like videos are right here, it's like a little bit below average, and really I should make stuff above average. But if we can do some tweaks and go, hey, look, it's right in the average area, we can go back to making some again. And a new member from Rob Darling. All right. Tyler Wright says, do you have some sort of formula or philosophy when it comes to determining the sufficient tank size for a given fish? Yes. For me personally, I always recommend the fish will be okay in a tank that you or me can keep up on water parameters. So by the time you're really going, I got to change water 4 times a week, that's probably a real good sign to actually upgrade the size. And I think that's a good rule because I just find that, you know, some people say 10 times the length. So like this is an 8-foot aquarium. That means I can't have a 1-foot fish in an 8-foot aquarium. It's like, well, that's a bit much, you know, or maybe some people say 6 times the length. Okay, then I could. But I think, honestly, if you can keep up with the water changes and it's not some ridiculous schedule, it probably is going to work out okay. So if you can get by, in my opinion, I never want to set up a tank where I have to change water more than once a month. If I have to do that, I'm probably pushing myself more than I want to go. Ooh, I see ETA, my auto feeder. You mean this one right here? Do the slow pan of Murphy into the camera. Probably getting blurry. He's looking into your soul. Enhance. 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 More eyeball. All right. The auto feeders are actually here. I slow rolled them out just to make sure. With members, we did extra testing. Now we've got some more I put into stock. There's not like a billion of them or anything because it's like the first wave. Now is as good as time as ever to talk about them. Let me open it up. As you can see here, no expense has been spared. We put them into a plastic bag inside of a box. That actually is just how they come. That we have nothing to do with that, actually. We do have a couple of options here. You have 2 ways to mount it. I can pull this out here. You have this GoPro type mount where you stick it onto something and then you could slide this bad boy right on it. So that's for like acrylic tanks, any weird kind of open top tank, or like my ponds. That's why I wanted it. And then you have this doodad, which slides in here. Okay, I swear it slides in here. Maybe I gotta go the other way. There we go. And you would hook it up to the rim. And it goes wide enough that it's really tight on a 75 and a 125, like really tight. I wish it could go a little bit further. One thing to watch out for is, I think I'm already breaking my own rule. In the instructions, we specifically tell you not to do that. The big problem everybody's having is they'll put this on their tank and they'll have it be like a little bit sticking out, and when this drum rotates, it hits it and then it stops. So you have to make sure that, oh, that's flush, so that way this can spin all the way like it wants to. All right, so those are our mounting options. Let me show you how this bad boy works. You've got the drum, boom, and you open it up. It's got a little tab right here. You can fill it up. You adjust the amount of food with this little thing that hit. No, I went into no man's land. I gotta get it. All right, I got it back. So, let me get this back in the way it goes here. I want to put this back together so that way. All right, now I can show you that you can adjust. Why is that not going all the way? What have I done wrong? Oh, because I have it backwards. Hold on. There we go. So now you can close it all the way pretty much, or you can open up to a lot. It'll spin, it'll drop food. That does what that does. All right, the programming part and the most important part, I think, it was to make this easy. What am I doing wrong here? Nothing. Get in there. I've done something wrong. I have not lined up things like I need to line up. Oh yeah, when I close it again, I didn't put it together right. All right, now we got it going. The front of this bad boy, right? You got this right here. This will spin around. This is the seconds. This is the minutes. As this spins, the hours turn, this bigger dial. So it's a big analog timer. You also get a bunch of these little doodads. What do these little doodads do? I'll show you. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. So these little doodads, you put right there. When this thing eventually spins around, I'm going the wrong way. It'll trigger, dink, then this will go. It takes a battery as well, which I don't have a battery on me. It comes with one though, but the battery is not super high quality, which I'm disappointed about. That's one thing we're going to change. The battery that comes with it sucks. And so I put in a request to the manufacturer, like, how do we get way better batteries? Like, how do you make batteries that just come out of the package bad? Yeah, they only lasted like a week for someone, so we got to get better batteries. If you want to manually feed, there's a little button here. Just go click, click, right there. If it'll focus, focus. Yeah, and they run for 20 bucks. And you can have them feed lots of times. And people asked what this was for at the show. So this little spot right here is for extra pegs that you're not using. So you can put all your extra pegs there in case you put on a different tank and you want to feed, 3 times a day or whatever. You just go, oh, let me put that in. There you go. As it keeps spinning, it keeps feeding. 20 bucks. Instructions written by myself and Randy. Ooh. Ah. That's right. Pamphlet. So there you go. The Aquarium Co-op feeder. We're using a bunch. You'll see a video. They've been working out well for me because I've been traveling a lot, both to Peru and to these events, and I'm excited that it's out now because I don't have to stop hiding them when I film. I was having to move them when I filmed, and so they're on the website, 20 bucks a piece, and yeah, we like them. Yeah, someone else said the battery only lasts a week. I don't even know how they make a battery that only lasts a week. I don't think they save any money making a battery like that. That's the one thing I didn't test. So every time I didn't test the battery because I'm like, a battery is a battery. clearly that's not true. That's clearly not true. I did not. Yeah. Does the auto feeder work well for nanotanks? Yes. One of the things that we improved upon, with like an Eheim feeder, as it spins, it starts dropping food like in a long pattern. This one, as it spins, it drops like straight down. So just boom. So it does work pretty good for a nanotank, yeah. Have you even mentioned you sent more pegs than needed? It was one of those last minute decisions that they were like, should we include more pegs? And I was like, yes. Because these are going to, like, you're going to drop it. The cat's going to hit it underneath your dishwasher or something, and you'll be low. So it ships with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And in the instruction booklet, we put, like, feed up to 6 times daily. You can feed a lot. Way more than you should. So it comes with extra little... We had to come up with a name. I don't remember what we called these things. Time tabs or something. So yes. It's live and the tacos are rolling. Yes. To be honest, I was surprised you even included a battery. Yeah. So I'll tell you the real story, the 100% real story. We're in Randy's office. We're making the final decisions on this thing. And he told me it wasn't going to come with a battery. And I was like, what? It has to come with a battery. Eheims come with a battery. Like, if we're trying to make like the best one on the market, we can't not have a battery. And so, but then we found out that having a battery might change how they ship it to us. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, I guess no battery then. If it's going to like make the price, I don't want to make the price go up on this thing because of a battery. So then they come and I got my samples. They didn't have batteries. I hook them all up. I make the video. I do all my stuff. Like, great. And then when we get the next shipment, they do have batteries. And then apparently they're kind of crappy batteries. So now I literally sent a message today because it was the first time I heard it had a battery from one of you guys. So I sent a message to Randy going, we have to ask them, how do we get better batteries on the next batch? Like, we cannot be making our feeder look cheap and crappy based on a battery. Now, I have no idea how much these batteries cost, but I know that we look bad if we have a battery that lasts like a week. I can't fathom, how do you make a battery with that little of a charge? That just seems like it's a giant waste of everyone's time. So that's how all that went down. Have you used the fry food in that feeder? I have not, but Candy has, and she said it works fine. So I was testing a ton of different Xtreme foods, what I was mostly testing in these. So I was getting dual usage out of, like, I didn't want to test these foods, plus I want to test the feeders. Yeah. Is it easy to create your own Wonder Shells? I've been looking into that, Sean, and maybe you could use like a lot of plaster of Paris, but all the trace elements would be a little bit more difficult. I've been looking into it though, going, because we get shortages quite often, and so we might have to make our own someday. Who knows? All right. Reed says we have some long fin variatus, but saw a discussion that you should breed with only one long fin for best genetics. That might be true. I don't know. I always colony bred them. But I've never seen the genetics go downward. I think we fear about genetic downward spirals much more than we run into as a hobbyist. So I would just keep an eye on them. Andre says, come to Portugal to visit the biggest freshwater aquarium in the world by Takashi. Yes. That is on the maybe list. There's a lot of places I want to go. That's what I look for in sponsors. Like, if a sponsor really wants to work with me, like if Kessel or someone else really wants to work with us, sponsor a trip. I feel like that's the best way to start, right? Like, if I was like with Dennerley, guys, is sponsored by Dennerley. I go show you all these really cool fish farms that Chris, Luke Up, and I get to go to. He brought me there. His company brought me there. And then I go, hey, by the way, I found the snail catcher while I was there. I found, because Dennerley brought us out there, and I went to Green Aqua. And Green Aqua loved that snail catcher. They were using it to get snails out of the way before we filmed. And I go, what the hell is that? And they go, it's a snail catcher. And I go, well, where do I get one of those? And it turned out Dennerley made it. It wasn't pre-planned. I was in their warehouse, didn't see that thing, right? Because they don't think it's a great product, blah, blah. And so that was the perfect thing of, well, I'm going to sell that then. And now we sell them and you guys like them and all that. That's the best sponsored instead of, and I got an email from a company today basically how much do we have to pay you to talk about this product? And I go, well, we don't really do that. You guys want unbiased opinions and, it's far better for me to talk crap about Awaze than it is to let them pay me $500 to go, no, Awaze's rad, buy it all, right? So my thought is, if I don't take the $500 payment, if I don't, maybe every time someone goes, it's going to cost you an Aeron chair. You buy me a chair. But in my opinion, it's I'm better off not taking the payment, staying in the aquarium co-op bias, and they're I like this because I actually like it, I get to sell it, I do all that, instead of, I got half a chair, you should buy this. So I try to avoid that type of stuff. I don't know, how did I even get to talking about, oh yeah, for Portugal. And so I think that works out better when we do a trip and we do something much more meaningful, and it gives me the opportunity. So one of the things I found that a version of this feeder existed while I was in Israel, actually. Again, we were there because Dennerley flew us out to go and speak at different stores and do different speaking events, and then Chris and I went and visited things. So again, that worked out really well. Dennerley got publicity, we sell Dennerley stuff, and I found this feeder, which Dennerley has nothing to do with. They're probably pissed they don't have this thing. But, we made our tweaks, we did our stuff, and now we have it. But that's a much more meaningful sponsorship than, we'll give you $500 to, unbox this or whatever. Not that other people can't do that. I'm not trying to disparage anyone. I'm just saying that's my line of thinking of either you got to do some crazy amount of money so I can go do a trip, or sponsor a trip, make something happen for the viewers. Let's prepay the viewers, then we'll work in something that makes sense. Do Tetras like a good current? Yes, but they also need slow spots to rest. So set that up maybe in front of a big piece of decoration and then go to the slow spot behind. New member, Walter Rosewell, thank you. And Tropical Gems says, thanks again, Corey. Auto feeders work great. Tropical Gems, off the top of my head, I believe you're the one. I brought some feeders to him. He was from Canada and couldn't order them. So I broke down and I brought him some. And glad that's working out for you, buddy. Because if one didn't work and I need to reship, that becomes impossible. So I'm glad they're all working. So far, knock on wood, the 100 or so that we kind of got out into the world for a bigger sample, there's been a little, one person had a little, so we got feedback that one person had a knob. They bought 2 feeders, and one came with this knob off. And they say theirs, instead of being circle like this, is square. So they were just going to, use something to fix it. Other than that, it's been going really well, though. And I'm extra skeptical just because it's a mechanical product. A sponge filter kind of just is what it is, but a moving thing has to have wear, right? So, the goldfish trolling me. Are you dead? Is that what you're doing? You're just blind because of your wen that I need to trim. Yeah. All right. I've reached the end of the super chats. We're back into the main chat. Why do I not use lift tubes on my sponge filters at your store? Couple reasons. At the store, the uplift tubes, if a snail or pleco ever go down inside of it, instantly there's kids or customers who are like, oh my God, this fish or snail stuck, you gotta help it, blah, blah, blah. You have a dead fish, blah, blah. That's not the case. They come right back out on their own will. The other one is before I made my own. Whoop, this part was clear, and algae would grow inside, and it looks bad. So we'd spend time cleaning the inside of the tubes. Now that it's green, don't have that problem. So that eliminated one of my critiques. The other thing was, it was hard to get your sponge around it. Well, we made this so that you pull this part off, and you have the air stone in there. That sits in the tank. Get your bag around here, you can pull it out. Eliminated that one. So really, there's only that one little thing, and we did another thing. We made this tube narrower diameter, so it wasn't as big. So less things can go down in once you put an airline tube in there. So I actually think in the store we will be using the uplift tube now. Before we didn't, because of all those things I just mentioned. So there you go. Subtle tweaks, but you know, that's the way it is. Caleb Aquatics with the 99-cent super chat. Go check that kid out. We hung out with him a bit on the weekend. It was super fun. He came out to Aquashella, and yeah, kid enjoying aquatics. Show him some love. With the Wonder Shell question, try Cuttlebone, sold in most pet stores, placed in the hang-on back. For me personally, I never got the results I wanted out of Cuttlebone. Tried it in cancer filters, tried it in hang-on backs. It never added calcium fast enough for what my shrimp were consuming. That's just me. I tried a few different brands. I never got it to work awesome like there's lots of people that go, oh, I swear by it. Naturally, I tried a bunch. I never got the results I was looking for, personally. So... how's Murphy doing? Love the 24/7 live stream so much that I had someone ship me, as much Murphy merch as I could get to Germany. Ooh, Samuel, maybe we'll have to meet up at Interzoo this year, and maybe I could bring you some more merch. There's some more Murphy merch on the way, some secret stuff. So, but to the best of my knowledge, he's doing well today. We had the internet go down yesterday and today at the shop. Real pain, by the way. The fun sides of the business when your retail store has no internet connection and you're teaching your employees how to connect to a phone hotspot to keep running transactions and doing that. And yeah, it can be brutal. From the queue earlier, fish not good, 2 left, should I nuke? I got to remember David Simmons' first question. Let me scroll up. I'm looking, David. Uh-oh. Oh, wait. Swim bladder. Okay, yeah. You had the swim bladder problem. Okay. So let me scroll down. Should I nuke them with just 2 left? Okay, so it was a widespread thing. I would hit it with 1 round of general cure, see if that helps. Because that way you'll eliminate internal parasites and that kind of stuff. And even if they still pass on, you know you're kind of starting with a clean kind of quarantine tank. So that's what I would do. I wouldn't put a ton of medicine in at this point, but I'd put enough, like at least 1 round in there. And see if they start passing parasites, then maybe follow it up. But I also don't want to just like see you throw money down a money pit of like it's never coming back. What do I think of biotope aquariums? I think they're dumb. And here's why, Andre. Because no one makes biotopes that are real. So like an Amazonian biotope, either A, it's going to have like no plants. B, it's going to be so tan you can't see fish. C, an Amazon sword rarely would ever be in the same part as the fish that we're going to keep in the hobby. So we get these like quasi-biotopes. So really it comes down to like, what do you think about keeping plants from the same region as the same fish? Like, yeah, I guess. But I don't see any real benefits, tangible benefits to the hobbyist from keeping this native plant with this native fish versus this non-native plant. Like, oh, I'm going to keep an African Anubias with this discus as opposed to this Amazon sword with this discus. For me as a hobbyist, it works out the same. There's very few fish that really thrive off that. I think it's more of a look what I was able to accomplish, or sometimes we just want to make the hobby harder for ourselves or make us think in a different way or give us that challenge. And I've done this stuff in the past, and it ends up getting really hard. You end up making choices where you're like, oh, I really love this fish, but I've got to keep this type of rasbora from here because that one technically doesn't come from here. I love this plant, but that one, so I got to take the worst. You make these like decisions where your aquarium looks slightly worse because you've given yourself these restrictions. So I'm not a huge fan of it unless you're a very advanced hobbyist and you're looking for the challenge of it, I guess. I guess that's what I would come down to. A new member from Fish Room Fever. Welcome, buddy. Welcome. I love what you say about Biotope. Biotope Aquarium is a big BS for many reasons. Yeah, you know, the best Biotope I ever saw, by the way, or it wasn't even necessarily a Biotope, but what I really enjoyed was someone that did like a river from one in the UK, and it was like beer cans and bricks. And I was like, all right, that's, you know, it seems logical, right? But I just think we're putting undue burden on our hobby for no gain. Like, and I guess part of it is someone that says like, oh, I have a Biotope. Somehow it comes with that like snooty attitude where I'm just as impressed when someone's like, I have a Barbie Biotope. Because when I see them, I'm like, dang, you really found all the things. Like, who knew? That's awesome, right? Just as much work goes into that Barbie Biotope in an aquarium as the Amazon Biotope. And so I can appreciate both of them. I've seen some very cool Star Wars tanks where they painted the background. They made a custom Death Star that was in there. All this crazy cool stuff. Dedication, and they love it. That's the thing. As long as you love it, I value that way more than, oh, but this thing is cooler. Like, the only person I think, well, even then they didn't get it right, but like Heiko Blair will set up a Biotope at some of the trade shows. And it's really cool, except the water is crystal clear, and that's technically not the way it would be. But still, it's an exercise in like, can I do it? Doesn't mean I should be, just can I do it? Welcome, Samuel Heidenstein. I'm going with Heidenstein on that one. Matthew Vargas, I set up a 40 breeder planted tank with Crips. I have 30 Rominos, 6 Bolivian Rams, 10 Corys, 10 Dwarf Rainbows. Can I get Angels, and can I mix and match? 1 black, 1 platinum, 1 koi. 40 breeder, you've got Rummies, Bolivians, Corys. The answer is, if the Rummies are full grown and fat and sassy, probably, and you could mix and match. Yeah, I think that would work. If they're still small, I'd give it some time. Thanks for becoming a member, David Simmons. I appreciate that. And not to forget Vern Illis with the $1 Canadian. You know what I'm saying? I tried to do a native fish to my area Biotope. I've tried that too. Wait, no, I haven't. Not with the fish, but the plants. And our water's so cold that when they came inside, they just died. That sucked. Any issues I should watch out for when adding store-bought plants to my mini pond? Are pesticides a concern? I just gave them a good rinse and threw them in without thinking. I think you're okay. I personally have never run into an issue ever, and I touch thousands of plants every week. I've never had a pesticide issue or anything like that. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm saying I've never run into it. So that, to me, shows me that odds should be fairly low. All right. Got my first bottle of Easy Green today. I'm excited. Yeah, tell me about it. I saw some people fighting about whether like Thrive or Easy Green was better or whatever. And then I find it hilarious. This is just me personally. I didn't chime in because I'm not there to prove my point. Like, I never want to get in there and be like, well, actually. But the funny part is, someone chimed in and said, well, Easy Green's just a copy of Thrive. And I want to chime in like, how did I copy Thrive if Easy Green existed before Thrive? What? That's right. And I know that because at the time of launching Easy Green, I was trying to do something that no one else was doing, and that was an all-in-one fertilizer. Now, maybe Tropica existed because I didn't really follow Tropica back then, so maybe someone did it, but as far as I could research in the US market, no one had done it before. And I got pushback from the manufacturers, and they were telling me it couldn't be done. That's how I know I predated all of them. Because then the other ones cropped up once I started really selling a ton of it. So that's how I know. But yes, I was excited as well. And yeah, I'm always looking to do a little more. I'm like, what else can I do with Easy Green? How can I make it better? How could I, we're always working on it. So right now what we're working on for Easy Green is we're trying to get into Canada. We had to, if you're Canadian and you're wondering like what's the holdup, we had to find the perfect box to fit Easy Green that would keep it from getting broken if someone like Amazon packages it. So they're gonna put it in. You ordered, a toilet bowl scrubber, an Easy Green, and a Barbie. All that's gonna go into a box and it's gonna rattle around as it's on its way there. I gotta make sure it doesn't get broken. So we get its own little box for it to go into. We were doing box selection and design last week. This week we have them. We now have them boxed. Next step is to get them crated to ship to Canada. Then we're probably a month out from them like being distributed to the warehouses, getting the listing up. At which point, when we pull off all that, I'm going to ask you guys if you like Easy Green, go leave a review on the Canadian Amazon to give it a little bit of a boost. And yeah, that's the steps we're at so far. By the way, it is stupid expensive to import stuff into Canada. That, like the amount of like duties and all the fees and yeah, it's not pretty. I'm doing what I can to bring the price down because I want to say right now off the top of my head, it's got to be like shipped to your door is like $35 Canadian, which I think works out to be about like $25 US, which is still like $10 more than we sell it for. So I'm working on it. That's all I can say. Easy peanut butter cup time. Thank you, the fan that brought me these. I think it might have been Turbofish that brought me those ones. I'm not sure. All right. Any info on big crystals and gems that are aquarium safe? I've heard of amethyst and quartz are fine. Yep. Ever heard anything about this? Yeah. I think most are safe. I know a bunch of geodes and like the slices of geodes. Those are safe. The one where you start getting in where they're all jagged, sometimes fish get caught in there. In general, it's a very general thing. If we're not putting way too many in there and we're staying up on our water changes, most times not enough stuff will ever dissolve in there to make a radical change. That being said, test it in your quarantine tank. Test it with some, a little amount of fish before you go whole hog into the, the 800 gallon and kill all the goldfish on your backdrop of your live stream. But they do look cool, and I've thought about doing it quite often. Wellzam Gamer. It was great meeting you on Saturday, Maxwell. Thanks again for getting me into the hobby. Your approach and dedication are amazing. Keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. Any tips you can give me on my new red pencil tetras? They can be a little squabbly, and they have really small mouths. So, frozen cyclops, frozen brine shrimp, frozen baby brine, frozen daphne. All those are very good foods. Dean's been feeding his some of the Xtreme nano pellets, which are like 0.5 millimeter, which we'll have that for sale soon. We like that food also. Feeds out really well out of an auto feeder. It'll be here in a day or two. Like it might even land today for all I know. But very small foods is key, and getting them some cover so they don't constantly look at each other. But the males will squabble a little bit, and they can be a little bit feisty for something that looks so dainty. Yeah, I would say those are the tips I got. We feed them well in the store. We give them some cover. Same thing at home. All right, where are we at on the membership? How far away are we from some more dope emojis? Oh, we're way far away. We have 38. Is that right? Yeah, 38 to go. So we might be able to hit on the next one. 1,200 people watching. That's true. You guys showed up in force when I took a couple weeks off. You're jonesing. You're jonesing to watch me eat candy. I knew it all this time. Noob says, is there a way I can help my guppy who has too big of a tail, can barely swim? I talked to someone in person on Aquashell, they had the same problem. They wanted to know, trimming the tail, ethical or not. And I said, well, if you don't trim the tail, lives a pretty terrible life. If you do trim the tail, might have some short-term pain, but probably a better life. So trimming the tail is one option. I don't think there's any other option besides putting it out of its misery. So maybe consider, and the way I said, trim that tail. Usually they do it with a razor blade. Then put it into a quarantine tank with salt. That'll fight off any bacteria and fungal infections. And guppies like the salt anyway. How well do Marimo mothballs control ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate? I wouldn't say super well. They're a very, very slow-growing plant. So in that instance, I wouldn't use them as like to control that. They'll help a little bit. You know, it's kind of like eating candy, right? How good is that at, you know, filling you up? Like, well, I mean, if I eat an entire bag of it, I'll be full for like an hour. But you know, you're better off eating steak and potatoes and other things like that. They're getting melty because it's hot in here. It heats up. Where's the M&Ms? I know. That's what I'm saying. My male Basmati rainbow has lost scales. I've treated it with no improvements. Fish are healthy. Any suggestions? And you're in the UK. That was smart by putting the UK, because that means certain meds won't be available there. If it's just lost some scales and doesn't have a growth or anything like that, high quality food. Give some vitamins, maybe soak the food in vitamins. Really what you're trying to do, make sure it's getting enough vitamins in. So we're maximizing the vitamins it would use to make new scales. That's really what we're trying to do there. So high quality food, also food soaks, frozen foods, all that kind of stuff. Make sure it gets its fair share of food too. If it's competing with a bunch of other rainbows, might be a little bit on the totem, low man on the totem pole. So you might want to quarantine it and really get it going. Haley Silver became a member. Thank you. Dude, your voice is still wrecked. Yeah, it comes and goes. It's on the mend. You know, I knew this live stream would be a little iffy. I'm hoping by next week it's really good. It was pretty bad Monday, and yesterday was pretty good. And then I had some meetings earlier today, and yeah. Do Victorian cichlids eat plants too? They will, but stick to things like African fern, Anubias, Java ferns, crinums, anything with a thick leaf to it. Thicker leaves, they can take the beating. Love watching your videos. What do you think about a female betta and guppies in a 55? I think if you just do one female, it could work. A sorority death tornado, I don't recommend. Michael Williams becoming a member. Thanks, buddy. I got a bumblebee catfish from a friend. Anything I should know about him? If they're going to eat anything in your tank, it's going to be at night. So sometimes they'll swallow small fish. Watch out for that. Keeping guppies in a 17-gallon outdoor tub over winter, or switch them out for cherry shrimp in Arizona. I'd switch them out to cherry shrimp. I've been able to overwinter cherry shrimp outside with ice on top. The guppies, if they get too cold, they start getting sick. So I would switch them out. My betta wall is on the Betta Fish Reddit. Awesome. I love when you guys share me on Reddit, because anytime I try to do anything there, they just, even when I try, because my name is Aquarium Co-op on there, right? So even when I'm like, oh, your fish is sick, here's how you treat it, they're like, quit advertising. And I was like, I didn't even link to me. I didn't even say buy it from me. I said you needed this medicine. So me and Reddit have this rocky relationship, you know. So I appreciate when anyone shares me on there and they don't instantly flag me. Like, I think the mods just don't like me or something. Some groups is absolutely fine, but like the main big one on there, it's like if someone even mentions me, they oftentimes get yanked off there. It's like, okay, I get it. You don't like me. I get it. Recommended foods for the new auto feeder. Some of my favorites right now, David, that I've tried would be the Vibrobites, Hikari Vibrobites, the Nano Extreme Food, the Pee-wee Extreme Food, which is a small pellet also. And then the Flu Ball Bug Bites work really well. The community blend. That's all I put through there so far, I think. It's also mostly what I want to feed as well, but I'll try more and more. You don't want things that are regular. Like flake doesn't make sense because the flakes, they'll break. Well, they won't break up enough, so you'd have to really like crunch them down. Oh, I didn't bring that. I brought some of Northfin flakes because someone said their flakes weren't big, and I was going to open it up and show you like these flakes are huge, and it's a problem. So Nicole says, spend it how you see fit. Keep on eating candy and giving us fish nerds great advice. That $5, it's $5 towards paying off this ridiculously expensive chair that should allow me to sit here longer. I'll put it towards that. Did I hit the super chat? Ooh, congrats on the 350K. Thanks for everything you do and running an honest business. As honest as anyone can run. Because I'm aware enough to know that I'm probably breaking the law or doing something wrong in the eyes of the IRS somehow. There's so much crazy stuff on the books that it's dang near impossible to follow it perfect. Even though I have accountants and I have bookkeepers, continually there's things like, hey, here's a thing that no one knew about. Now we got to do a thing. So, have I tested mixing different size foods? I haven't yet. But if you have really big differences, that's probably a problem. If they're similar sized, within a little range, you're probably fine. Oh, Dean's Fish Room's here. Welcome, Dean. What were I supposed to remind Dean about? Oh, Dean, I want you to test if you can use ICX as anti-fungus for eggs. That's what I was trying to remember. Yeah. Yes. All right, and I know I'm back to the super chats. Caroline Epler, a longtime supporter. I appreciate that. How are the crickets? Yes, at Aquashell I ate some bugs, which I got drafted by Joey, the king of DIY. You may have heard of him, maybe. To eat bugs. So then I was like, all right, I'll do it. We ate like the first round, and then that dude bowed out, which I thought was BS. So then I went all the way to the last round. I did not completely finish the last round. I'm going to be honest. It tasted real bad. Very burnt tasting, and I wasn't willing to eat the stinger of a water scorpion, and someone else that ate it said their mouth was starting to go numb. So I'm glad. I could barely talk at that point. I didn't need to add water scorpion venom to my problems that I got going on. So, but I will say, don't pull someone else into a competition and then bail. That's bad. That's bad bug eating form, buddy. All right. Yeah, and in general, they were so dry I had to drink something. Like you couldn't swallow them without water. Yeah. All right. I've got a 125 with a 30-gallon sump and wanting to do discus again. I'm thinking of planted wilds and a planted tank. Your tips and opinions. I keep the temperature about 78 degrees. Plants will do well, and I think I personally find wilds easier than captive raised strains. So I think just go for it. It'll look great no matter what. I have 5 juvenile cribs in quarantine. One male is getting nice color, while the other's not so much. When I move to the main tank, should I put one male, one female? Or is there a better combination? Well, usually the females get the color. If they're getting that belly to it, that's the female. A pair works pretty nice. If you can identify a good pair, just move the pair. You get fry faster. Jeff Rose. I got to meet Jeff Rose at Aquashell. That was kind of cool. He didn't tell anyone he was going, so I was surprised to meet him. And he says, what project out of all my projects that you've got going am I the most excited about? What am I excited and jazzed for right now? What am I jazzed for? What am I excited for? So if I'm being transparent, which I always like to be, I'm very excited. We brought in a new employee for the retail store, and we brought in, we basically have brought on a gamer's wife full time. And her job is going to be, for lack of a better way to explain it, my online helper. So she's already been writing blog articles for us. She's going to help fill in some of the newsletter gaps. help brainstorm on some of the video creation ideas, that kind of stuff. And that's going to free up some of my time. And what I'm looking forward to is doing more member type live streams, more behind the scenes content. I want to do some more business related stuff. I met a couple people opening fish stores, one being, well, I won't say who because it's possible they don't want people to know. But I want to be able to offer some more support to them. And, you know, I don't want to necessarily have to charge or anything like that. I want to free up time. My big thing is if I can free up some time, I can do a little bit more of this stuff. People want more aquarium co-ops, and the best way I can do that is to help other people enact their fish store dreams. And hopefully, if they're getting advice from me, some of my business stuff will rub off on them. And if people wanted my business towards them, that should make it a little bit closer to that, I hope. We'll see. So I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for more time. I really want to work on the 800 gallon and some more live stream stuff that we're doing. I'm excited to hang out with Dean more. Like this will be the, not second week in a row, but twice in the last month that we'll be kind of spending days together in the fish room, working on what we want to do and figure out what do we do next. Yeah, I think that's a lot of the projects have kind of come to an end. Like we brought the auto feeder, and I was really excited for the sponge filters. Still am very excited for the sponge filters. Yeah, I'm kind of just excited to get everything up and going. There's more stuff we want to do for renovations at the store. We're working on that. I might be there, you know, this week working on that. So, yeah. Do I think I'll ever carry Bacter AE products? I buy other shrimp foods from you, but love Bacter AE. Love buying from the co-op. I'd have to look into it again, Jace. So part of the problem we have is based on the way that we compensate our employees and how fast we ship things and our business model, if there's not enough profit margin in the items, we can't sell them. So that might mean like some companies want you to buy a product for $3.50 and sell it for $5. That doesn't work when we're paying our employees well and then giving you guys free shipping. So then we'd have to sell it for like $7. But then maybe Flip Aquatics, and I don't know the price of this product, but maybe Flip Aquatics is selling it for $5. Then it's like, oh, you know, and just different minimum wages around the country and all that kind of stuff. And you know, like Flip Aquatics, their threshold I think is $100 for free shipping or something like that. So with us adjusting our things, some products just don't make sense. So we'll think about it though. It's part of our thing to continually evaluate products. Long term, we're probably going to discontinue Northfin Fish Foods, not selling very well. We wanted to jump in and just provide it to people, and we're going, hey, like no one's buying it. That sucks. So Dean needs to name the black goldie behind me that trolls me. Is it this one? Must be. Indeed. Let's see. Aquarium Sunshine Valley became a member. Thank you. Will we ever carry the CO2 art regulators again? I won't say never, because we didn't stop carrying them because they were a bad product. We stopped carrying them because we had misaligned customer service. And what I mean by that is, in general, if you have a problem, our goal is to fix it as fast as humanly possible. So that might mean you go, hey, my feeder's not working. And we go, great, we're going to send you another one. After we do a little bit of troubleshooting. What they would want to do is they go, okay, let's troubleshoot some more. Can you take it all apart and take a picture and then show us? And then, oh, that's not working? All right, we're going to reship one from us in the UK to you. Expect it in 6 days. That turnaround might have been 16 days. Where with us, if we could verify there was a problem with the regulator, we would ship one out from our warehouse instantly. A lot of companies, they go, okay, ship the broken one in. We'll take a look at it. Yep, it's broken. Then we'll sit on it for a couple days. Then we'll send you out a new one. And that's the customer. They wanted us to not handle the customer service, and we tried it. Did not work well because people are used to our customer service, and so we basically stopped selling their stuff because they wouldn't let us do it. They basically, every time we decided this thing's faulty, we need to do it, they wanted us to ask the customer to ship it back to us, then us ship it back to them in the UK, then we get credited for it. And that wasn't a working system. And so in the future, if they're willing to trust that we know enough to do it, then possibly. That being said, the other aspect of it was the average person that bought a regulator didn't know how to use CO2, and it was very labor intensive teaching people how to use regulators. So we need to make sure there's a good profit margin there because it was driving customer service people batty. They're like, I'm on my 12th email with this person, and we want to educate, but we need to figure out how do we do it either more efficiently or how do we build it in so that we can take the time to teach you in the price and not be competing ultra low pricing with, that's one of our rubs, I guess, is we can't be the cheapest priced and have customer service up here. That just puts us out of business. So we gotta you gotta pay a couple bucks more, but then we can afford to do that. All right, what happened to all the clown loaches? They live in a 125 currently in the fish room. So do I ever think about franchising out? So I've thought about it only because people ask me, but no, I'm not considering it. And it's mostly because I don't believe that most people will adhere to losing money in massive scale when it makes sense. Most people, they're forced to be a little greedier because they don't have enough money or whatever. There's a lot of business principles that we do that just don't make sense. Other than it makes sense on a grand scale. It makes sense because we have the YouTube channel. It makes sense because we can control the marketing and all that. Even so much so that I don't want to jeopardize that another aquarium co-op opens up, they do a bad job, and we get bad reviews. Like, that's just the on the lowest level. What are my thoughts on the title series of Filters from Seachem? There's a live stream where I basically tear them apart. The quick version of that is there's no reason not to buy an AquaClear over that. It's cheaper and it's better. There are some features of the title that are great, but there's a lot of flaws there too. So even while the AquaClear has some flaws, it's still the best. And they're very similar, but if I was buying one today, 100% I'll buy an AquaClear every time. Even if the AquaClear was more expensive, I'd still buy it, but it's cheaper. So, I really, that is something I want to work on down the road, make a better hang-on back than both of them, or work with a company, or work with Hagen, or work with Seachem to make one that actually is better than all of them. So, have I ever thought about Dr. Bassler's biofish food? I'm breeding discus for 15 years, including wild caughts, and think it's the best dry food ever and not that expensive. Let me Google it real quick. Is that the stuff that you, like, it's got the mix-ins? Let me see if that's what I am. My internet goes slow, by the way, while I'm live streaming. No, I've never tried it. Looks like it's a German brand. It's my guess. Aquarium Munster would be my guess. I don't think I've tried it, so I'll take your word for it that it's awesome. I do believe, and I was talking about this earlier with like Randy, and in my opinion, there's a bunch of really good pellets. There's not a bunch of good flake foods. There's not a bunch of good wafers, not a bunch of good crumbles. So depending on the type of food, sometimes we're very oversaturated, and pellets are one of them. Like just like a 2mm pellet. Who doesn't make 2mm pellets, and who doesn't have pretty good quality? Like there's so many of them to choose from. So that's a space why, I think Randy was asking like, why don't we get into it? I'm like, the space is already overcrowded. There's a billion good options. Why do we need to be 1,000,000,001? Yeah. I buy your Easy Green, carbon, and iron and tabs on the regular along with the plants from you guys. They're always the best quality. I'm going to do CO2 now. Can I run a hang on back and an air stone and CO2 without issue? Yes, there's a little bit more to it than that. You want to make sure that you're not gassing off everything, but typically a little bit more CO2 would make up for any of the gassing off. And in my opinion, yes, an air stone and injecting CO2 together, very good. Internet would say, I'm crazy. Don't listen to that guy. I realize that. The preference being I run air in all of my tanks, even the ones I CO2 with. So, surefire way to combat brown algae? That I don't think there is. Don't keep an aquarium. There are good ones, and that would be keep a Bristlenose plecostomus or Autosynclus. Both of them devour diatom algae like that, but I don't think there's any surefire ways to just not deal with it. Is there a reason why neon tetras like to Is there a reason why it seems like neon tetras get ick more than other fish? Is there anything you can do to stop it? My water quality is great, and it seems like they get it the most. Well, part of it is they're a cheap fish. They haven't gone up in price in many, many years. People typically buy big numbers of them, which if you bring 50 animals into your care, it's more likely that one of them gets sick and then spread it. And in general, they're just not quarantined well enough. So there are reasons why they seem like they get more sick. Like people on average, when we look at analytics, they'll buy on average 3 guppies. On average, people buy 8 neon tetras. So the odds of bringing a sick fish home are just straight up higher. And there's extremes like, oh, someone bought 12 guppies. Someone might buy 100 neon tetras. The odds just go up astronomically when you're dealing in large groups of fish. Will Val be productive long-term if I only dose liquid ferts and never use root tabs? Super long-term, yes, because eventually you'll build up fish poop in there and it will learn to adapt and it will just do well enough, yeah. What do I recommend after the triple threat quarantine breakdown? What do you recommend after triple threat quarantine tank? Break down the tank to clean and lose beneficial bacteria or leave up? I always leave them up. My logic is if the fish are clean, if you believe they're clean and you move them to your main tank, should be clean. If it breaks out with something, then you know, ooh, maybe I should break that down or maybe I should bleach it or something. If it doesn't, but my other logic is if the next fish are going into that tank anyway, if you miss something, once you move the fish, it's already there anyway. So breaking it down and sterilizing it never made much sense to me. Tips on raising sunset gourami fry. Lots of very fine foods like a ceramicron powder. A lot of stuff on the surface for them. That's what I would do. I love how extra blunt you are today. Something has you on SAS master mode. I don't know. I think it's... Well, no. I think the difference, honestly, is I typically progress this way the longer I'm doing Q&A. A lot of times we were starting the shows with me talking for maybe up to an hour about a specific subject. And then I'd be so focused on answering the Q&A that I never delved into some of the other stuff. All right. What's a good place to buy fish wholesale? None of the fish dealers in my area are nice enough to share any of this info. Well, typically it's because it would hurt their business. And then 2, if I tell you buy from ABC Fish and my fish or my water is 6.0 pH, if your water is 8.0, you're going to order $2,000 worth of fish and they're all going to die on you. And then you're going to go, Corey, wow, you gave me horrible advice. Or your employees don't know how to handle it. Or you do quarantine differently. Or there's so many variables, right? But it's almost begs the question why are you asking me? Usually, so many people are beating down your door to get you to buy fish. If you're a legit business, that you don't need to ask other people. Also, if you're paying attention, you can find out who we buy a lot of our fish from because we do videos at their places. And we do, in some of the unboxings, it shows where we're buying from. So with a little bit of research, I've talked to plenty of people that have figured out where we order. but I'm not going to go out of my way to tell everyone who we order from. Yeah. Do I use fish water to water plants? We do a lot of times, yeah. Especially get a pitcher, go to your house plants. Yeah. Definitely at the store we do. Tips on breeding Zaire blue frontosas. Wish you shipped those auto feeders to Australia. Mostly with frontosas, it's a long game. Like, it got to be at least 3 years before they'll start breeding. Got to reach sexual maturity. Yeah, we bred fronts for many, many years at the store, and it was like just not even pair up, but make groups of old enough fronts, feed them really well, keep their tank clean. They'll start mouth brooding for you, and then you can decide whether you want to pull fry or not. Or not fry, but, well, maybe fry, but eggs, at least. Will Murphy get a bigger tank anytime soon? He's my favorite fish celebrity. I don't know about soon. The estimations and cost.
Sassy's ears are burning.
Sassy's ears are burning from what?
Sassmaster?
Oh, from the Sassmaster. The estimation between the tank of the cost and the remodel in the store, we estimate it'll cost about $50,000 to upgrade the tank size for Murphy. So
Holy beans.
I don't exactly have 50 grand laying around. So it definitely is something we have to plan for and like really set aside money to make that happen. That being said, on camera it probably looks a little small, but the aquarium currently is plenty big enough for it. Like this 800 gallon, you might say like, well, why not put them in the 800 gallon? The only difference between this tank and the 360 gallon is these 2 feet. 6 feet versus 8 feet. It's the same front to back depth. It'd be taller, but he doesn't use taller. So the difference between a 360 gallon and an 800 gallon to him is not very much. We need to go crazy wide footprint, and that means taking walls down in the store, which means disrupting retail sales, which means all these things have to go down. So we've been thinking about it, but it definitely is going to take a lot of... We're kind of hoping we can take on another space, like maybe a next door space, build an insanely big aquarium for him there, and then just move him there. We've thought about also how we might have to see if we can hire Dr. Tim Miller-Morgan, because you can imagine we build a $50,000 tank and all that, and then we go to move him and somehow he dies. Like, we'll never hear the end of it. Just like, Joey, when he loses an arowana, people never stop saying, you should have had vets, you should have done all these things. And the reality is, no one's planning for a fish to die. So it's kind of one of those, like, you do everything you can. And he's like the only guy that knows about puffers, but even he's going to be like, I mean, I can be there, but there's not much, you either moving the fish or you aren't type of deal. So bring the old lady in.
I gotta give her. Here, she's in my cardigan.
Hanging out in the cardigan. Oh, come here, little old lady. She's getting so old. She's so blind in both eyes. She's losing weight. She's down to 3 pounds, 8 ounces. So it's getting real old. We brought her to the vet. For those of you that gave us good wishes, she's getting better. She had a bad urinary tract infection. Got a lot better. She's still a little leaky, unfortunately. Might just be old and the bladder leaks. And, it's okay. I can hear you. The weight loss and stuff. She had lots of tumors that we had removed a few years ago. Could be the start of cancer or something like that at this point. And so, just spending time with her. She doesn't like to be in the light. Look at them. You have your own emoji. Do you feel special?
Yeah.
That's right. So, getting real bony. Even at her heaviest, she was only like 5 pounds. 4.5 was typical. She'd bounce between 4 and 4.5. Now she's 3.5 pounds. So, and we've been feeding her like a horse. All the time. All the foods. But not helping. So. Someone said they thought I was calling you old. Yeah, my wife's so old.
Another carrot.
That's right. So, a past video you mentioned that you built a device that sucks up fry from one thing to the other. How do I build that? Hopefully, so part of my goal with like a gamer's wife is we can hop on a call. I can explain how to do something, and then she can turn it into graphics and stuff like that for a blog post. So that's going to be probably coming out maybe in a blog post at some point. Maybe I'll build it. That's one of the things I want to do with Dean. Like, hey, let's build a couple of these projects. Let's do some of this stuff. But I got to get through the traveling season. Got to get through Aquatic Experience. Got to rest up my voice. You know, even if I could film that video right now, I wouldn't want this voice to be on it forever. And so, yeah, it's not the easiest thing to build. Top 3 things to do in Oregon and Vancouver, Canada.
Oregon and Vancouver?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. Are you talking about Portland?
It says Oregon and Vancouver,
Okay, if
Canada.
you're talking about Portland, you need to do the food trucks.
Yeah, there's food trucks, Voodoo's Donuts. Visit the Wet Spot Tropical Fish. That's definitely... my favorite store to go down to while I'm in Oregon is World of Wet Pets. They do a lot of live bears. Also a very big store.
There's a Japanese garden that's really gorgeous.
Sounds like there's flowers. Flowers are dumb.
It's right by the Chinatown district, and there's lots of great food there too.
All right. And then when you're up in Vancouver, try to visit whatever store Flynn works at. He works at a fish store up there.
I can't remember.
I don't know his name.
Candy might know.
Yeah, she might know. But I don't go. I want to go to Vancouver more, but I so rarely go there, so I don't know what to do up there.
Okay,
You can ride the Clipper,
There's a
right?
botanical garden up there.
And some botanical gardens. Yeah. I have 20-gallon planted tank. No fish yet, just some snails. I have detritus worms in the tank. Do you have a solution to get rid of detritus? If it's of the detritus, just like gravelback and that kind of stuff, it's the detritus worms, add fish. They'll start eating them. Flowers aren't dumb.
Flynn says Vancouver is very boring.
That's because Flynn lives there. That's the problem. Katie bakes full time for Corey. Almost. She made me biscuits and gravy this morning. It was real nice. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I realized? Our wedding anniversary, I think, is during Aquatic Experience.
Yeah, I do think our wedding anniversary is the Aquatic Experience. Is that true?
I think it might be.
No, I think it's the week before. Hold on. Let me look.
Is it before?
Yeah, it's right here. It's the weekend after, so we could do something. Yeah.
You guys, it's on camera. Get
I
back
said
up.
could do something. Didn't say would, said could.
Sasha's gonna bite you now.
Yeah. It is hard when, our pets get old. Yeah. She spends a lot of time. She doesn't like to go on walks anymore, so when we do, we've been lazy lately, she gets put in a sling, and she doesn't mind that so much. She gets tired so fast. So, yeah. We also we have to have people watch them. Like while we were gone, we had to have someone watch it, and we have cameras on them to watch them, and, she's old. She'll fall off the bed. That's always scary, so, yeah. Do some with the dogs. Maybe for our anniversary, we'll lay in bed and watch movies and order something awesome. That sounds awesome to me. What do you want to do? You come up with a good plan.
Maybe we'll go see a movie and then.
That sounds terrible.
Oh, married life.
That's right. So.
I don't think people realize how long we've been together, though.
What is it, like 14 years?
It's 16.
16 years. It's so long that I've been shutting it out of my mind for the past 2 years. That's right. Ginger Graves sent you $5, Sassy.
Oh, Ginger.
I'll buy you some old lady food. We have to buy senior small dog formula in addition to the other foods because we're trying. Does my wife work for you full time now, or does she still bake? She basically.
I don't bake professionally anymore.
She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't have another job. She works for us part time, and then handles like all the stuff that I don't. So like, we have some landscaping going on. She's handling that. She handles when we have to mail stuff to the IRS. Like she does a lot of all the personal stuff because I just 100% like answer emails, shoot videos, do this kind of stuff. Anything in your normal life, like on the calendar, she'll put like, we're going to a movie this time. She schedules everything for me, and she stays plenty busy because it allows me to free up some time. So, yeah. Does all the shopping, grocery shopping, getting stuff for events. She'll also pick stuff up for events. Like if I know, like, oh, we're going to need more of this. If I didn't have this and I didn't go to the warehouse today, she'd pick this up for the live stream. So crazy amounts of errands that I'm bad at getting done.
I need to get a sign for Aquatic Experience when they'll be out of the booth.
Yeah, we got to get, she's going to make signs from out of the booth when I'm speaking at one of the keynote, well, I guess I'm not a keynote speaker at the Aquatic Experience, so gotta downgrade myself there.
You're not? Why am I going?
That's right. Yeah, you're gonna bail now. So, what's the slow-mo cooldown time? I think it's 60 seconds. If you become a member, that goes away. It might yell at you, but it lets you put it in more than that. So, yeah. Well, it's 7, and I know I want tacos, and I made a play date for WoW, so I might eat tacos cheese. And yeah, we do feed her cheese. Did you hear it? Cheese. Oh, I like cheese. Yes. So, NY Gold, are you late? You're catching the very tail end, my friend. And I've answered all the super chats, I think. If I missed it, I apologize. And I'll try to get to it next time. Otherwise, watch out for some super secret live streams or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I might do one with Dean on Sunday, maybe. But we might just work through the whole thing. So, yeah. It'll say that your slow mode is on, but it'll let you type a message more than once every 60 seconds. That's a bug that they haven't gotten rid of for months. So, yeah. It should let you. Or it's only doing it for some people. I don't know. But, yeah. The stretchy signs at Aquashell looked nice.
Oh, how you do your signs? How we did our backdrop?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I was like, huh?
See, this is why I'm here.
Yeah. What am I playing on WoW? I play a feral druid. Gotta be animals, right? So I can get aquatic form. How dare you? Of course you knew that. All right, Caleb, you are the last thing I'm answering because my little old lady's falling asleep and we gotta do dinner. So, wanting a pisto. Oh man, Elizabeth A. We've got a pH of 8.2 to 8.4 at the tap. Water changes, weekly water changes, 6 corridoras, 10 neons, and a 10-gallon. Could it work? I think you're really going to have to go with RO water. They want a much lower pH. So, well, with only a 10-gallon, you could buy water probably. You could probably buy some RO water or something like that. Maybe mix your tap with a little bit of, well, not a little bit, but like half tap, half distilled. Get it go down quite a bit. To breed them, they usually like to be under 7. So you're going to have to drop it quite a bit. If you're just keeping them, you can keep them like 7.4, 7.5. Yeah. So, did your wife have a bakery I can visit in Washington? Nope.
Lose our minds.
We would lose our minds. We've talked about that because I love business, but one, business is already crazy stressful. 2 would just be madness. Like it would probably lead to divorce for sure. So
I'd get the dogs.
My wife says she gets the dogs. All right, I'm calling it. Leave comments, leave a like, watch some more videos, order stuff from us, get yourself a feeder, get yourself some flake food, even though those two don't go together, but hey, and get thumbs up from my wife. And we'll see you next time.